Okay, so right before the game, we're in the tailgate lots, and like I got the shit smacked out of me by a West Virginia fan. I am down
What?
a pair of sunglasses. All right, so let me back it up here. I'm basically like talking shit because we're like in like Green 32, right on the west side of the stadium, and I'm like talking shit to this like like younger kid. He's got on one of those like coonskin caps, so I'm like fucking with it. I'm like poking the hat or whatever, and then this like 6'6", 360 guy comes up and goes, "You're gonna put your hands on someone, put them on me." And like a dickhead, right? I'm fucking plastered at this point. I just kind of put my hand on his chest like this, like extremely gently, and I just look at him like. The next thing I know, my hat and my sunglasses are off my face.
What
Sunglasses
the
are
fuck?
broken. Anyway, this guy like immediately knows he fucked up. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just protecting myself." I'm just like, "Go away." Anyway, I like to think that I won us the game because I sacrificed my $40 sunglasses prior to kickoff in the tailgate lots.
Kent, did you see this go down?
Dude, I saw him get his fucking shit slapped, but I did not see like the events that led up to it. So I had no idea why he got hit in the face by this guy. And this guy was a fucking monster. Like this guy was fucking ginormous.
Which is unit, dude.
So I was
What?
like, I'm not gonna fight this guy because I don't know what Zach did.
That's unreal. Who was it? Just you two? Were you with anybody else?
At that moment, it was just us.
Yeah, at that point, it was just us.
And like it was like a combination of like one, the guy was really big and I probably would have lost the fight, and two, I was a little bit too drunk to process what had just happened. I was like, "What the fuck? Where's my sunglasses?" And like the whole thing, I'm just mad about the fucking sunglasses. I really like those sunglasses.
That's wild.
Yeah, bro. I literally was like, yo, what the fuck happened? Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, I was trying to get contact. Zach was just like so out of it. And like, this guy's just fucking ginormous. Yeah, I was like, I have no play here. Like, I have no idea what to do.
Well, that is great karma, and that definitely did contribute to the win. So
Yeah, I like to think that that guy personally fucked the game up for West Virginia. Anyway, that's been about 2 minutes of talk about me getting slapped. Let's talk about the motherfucking game.
West Virginia got slapped on the field.
Oh yeah.
First down, goes to the sidelines, has a man wide
Loves those moments. It reminds me of last year in the Garden against St. John. And guys just stepped up. Blake hits a what the hell three. You know, we're like, what are you doing? And he's done that all year.
Klicka out to Bizzario. It's over. The Pitt Panthers have upset Wisconsin. Anybody if he hits his field goal. Up and got it. Sauls does it again.
Welcome back to Sample 5 Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Kaminsky. I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Mason Kling and Kent Vanderwood. Kent, I know you're feeling a little bit tired today because I am too. We were both in Pittsburgh for the Brawl. At least 20 beers consumed each throughout the day. But goddamn, it was worth it, was it not?
So worth it, Zach. It's been a long day today. Boy's not there today. Really, I've taken about 2 naps already today since we got home. But totally worth it. What a game.
Now, Mason, how are you doing?
Um, even though I was not there in person, I was there in spirit. Was with plenty of Pitt fans watching on TV this weekend. Joined you guys in a couple of the beverages as well. I think it's safe to say it's might not be as fun as actually being there, but to see it on TV, it was still an incredibly fun game to watch.
So I've actually got a question about being on TV. how loud did the crowd sound on TV?
So here's the thing: at the bar I was at was not a TV sound on bar, so I have not much to report there from you. Um, Even when I watched I went back today again and watched the condensed highlights. I mean,
Of
it
course.
sounded pretty darn good.
Yeah, it was fucking loud in that stadium. Energy was there all day. Honestly, let's get right into it. I don't even know where to start with this game because so many things went right.
Well, more crowd question before we get into actual game stuff. What was the ratio like? How'd we do? I know it was sold out, but how'd the Pitt fans show out?
Like 90% Pitt
Yeah.
fans, based on it was like more so than 2022. I think.
Wow.
Honestly, yeah, because like all the pictures and videos that West Virginia fans post are very misleading because everyone knows that they just get those two sections up by the north end zone. They get the one on the away sideline all the way up top, and then they get some more tickets actually at the end, at the very top of the north end zone. So of course, there are West Virginia fans in the West Virginia section, but that home sideline, the far south end zone, the whole lower bowl was full of Pitt fans. And you could tell from the way the crowd was popping every time they made a big play.
That's awesome. And plenty of big plays to hear the pops from.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
you could also hear every time West Virginia fans try to start a chant, uh, everybody would just clap back. The student section would just clap back, and it would be like 10 times louder. So,
Love
um,
that. Love that.
yeah.
they got loud fast. They were really good. Me and Ken were sitting just above the student section, so we got to hear pretty much everything. So with the game, I guess where do you guys want to start first? So first half is a back and forth. It's a war between Pitt and West Virginia. Basically, everything that we said on the preview more or less came true. The West Virginia secondary could not hold up even a little bit. The Pitt defense was letting big plays happen left and right. I think the one thing that sort of I didn't see coming was that the Pitt O line throughout this whole game was struggling. They did not run the ball very well. Um, but I don't know. I'm sort of nitpicking there. Overall, like the passing attack was working all day. There were a couple of dumb play calls, like that 4th and 1 call at the end of the first half that gave West Virginia a field goal to tie it up at 17. But overall, I think coming out of the first half, tied at 17 with a team I thought was more veteran than us, was the outcome I thought was pretty much the best.
Yeah, I was sad by the fact that I don't mind going for it there. The play call was not my favorite. Um, I would have preferred to punt that one away, try and go into halftime up three. But at the same time, like I said, like I don't mind the aggressiveness. But yeah, a little flip pass to the outside with no momentum running forward when you have to get a yard after you already just didn't get a yard on 3rd and 1. Um, that was a bad point in the game.
There were a couple times where we got a little too cute,
Mm-hmm.
and tried to do some trick plays. I think the flea flicker happened at one point that didn't work
Mhm.
out great, and then I
Or a
will
double
say
reverse.
though, yeah,
Yeah.
double reverse too. But we did. I think after we did those dumb plays, we kind of like bounced back very well most of
Mhm.
the time, and like got good chunk yardage back, which is like, all right, if we're gonna take a couple risks, at least we can have a competent coordinator to get us back into good situations after those hiccups.
Yeah, I will say after the bad play calls, like I'm only harping on them so much because the rest of the play calls in the game were really good. I think that Cade Bell called a really good game outside of those. And I think he kind of learned his lesson. Also, shout out to Cruz Brookins, who is now the second Pitt D back in 2 home games to catch a tipped pick in the backyard brawl towards the end of the first half. That led to the turnover on downs. Now, the second half is really weird because I think the offense had looked good the whole first half, outside of those weird play calls. The defense was kind of as expected, but in the second half, the Pitt offense went pretty much dormant for about 20 to 25 minutes. They had, I believe, 4 total yards. Shout out to Maverick Gracia, who got that punt block, and also Isaiah Neal hitting the double birds on the punt block touchdown. But outside of that, man, West Virginia just completely takes over the game in the second half. Pitt goes 3 and out, 5 and out, 3 and out. And then West Virginia, with 4:55 left on the game clock, they have a 28-yard touchdown to Justin Robinson. That is the touchdown where there is a pretty obvious OPI on that play. I think I have a hot take for you guys about that OPI.
Shoot it.
It's good that they didn't call it.
Yeah, we were talking about this in the car ride back today a little bit. You can go ahead and explain why you think it was good.
Yeah.
Obviously, bad miss by the refs.
Yeah, no, it was 100% a bad call. Like, it was clearly OPI fucking pushing off of, I think it was Brooklyn's face max. I don't remember. But that play, if they call that back, it's then, it's more time they don't, it's more time that West Virginia gets to take off the clock before the end of the game. And so I think Pitt needed that entire 4 minutes, 55 seconds in order to get down and score another 14 points to come back. Because, coming back from down 10 when there's 4 minutes left on the clock, every single second counted. I mean, they scored that last touchdown with 32 seconds on the clock. I think that the fact they didn't call it just gave them just enough time to allow them to not only win in regulation, but honestly, they might not have even tied it if they had extra time taken off the clock. Because, they scored that out from the 28. They could have realistically gotten another first down and burned more time off the clock.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those like butterfly effect moments where you look back and at first you were probably pissed at the missed call, but now it's like, you know what? That's kind of it worked out in the end, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. So
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends whether you think Pitt gets a stop there after if it gets called back, or if
Probably not.
West Virginia still scores there. In the moment that touchdown happened right in the corner where we were at, Zach, blatant. Like, you clearly saw it in person from the stands. Like, I know it's one thing to go back and look at the TV replays, zoomed in, close up, but it's like, bro, it's right there. The whole crowd saw it. I don't know how you missed that call.
I don't know. Honestly, to that point, the defense had not shown like any signs of being able to stop the West Virginia offense outside of like a tipped tip pass turnover with their last stop of like a full West Virginia drive. So honestly, I think that they probably wouldn't have gotten the stop.
Yeah.
Also, we forgot to talk about it in the first half, but the tipped pass that Kenny Johnson caught was fucking sick. I forgot about that, but that's awesome.
that was cool.
That was awesome, man.
So
that first drive where he caught that deep ball too was a big statement play, I think, to get Holstein kind of settled in, and that was a big one for the narrative of the game.
Yeah, I mean, talking like it was the first half, they were all in rhythm, like both Eli, Kanate, like even Gavin a little bit, but especially like Kenny and Des Reed were all in a great rhythm. It goes away completely in the second half, and then you got to talk about the motherfucking cardiac cats because they come back to win this with 4:55 on the clock. First drive, 5 plays, 75 yards in a $149. You couldn't have asked for a better drive. And the craziest part about this is that they scored the touchdown on 2nd and 30. just an insane play call. Dejon Reynolds is draped that he draws a DPI flag and still catches a 40-yard bomb from Eli. So we're already there.
When this drive first started, or I guess it was more so after um, West Virginia scored on the previous drive, I was kind of like, all right, another year, another close loss here. And then as soon as we scored that touchdown, I was like, okay, we're just going to come back and tie this up and go to overtime. I was like, I feel confident that we can win this game. That play like totally flipped the momentum.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, honestly, what we aren't seeing as much talked about is like, I think that the O line really started to break down in the second half. Then on these last two drives, Eli just masterfully starts moving left to right in the pocket. He scrambles, twice on this drive to start it off. He scrambles for 10 yards for a first down, then 24 yards for a first down. Like, he really won this game with his legs.
He was our leading rusher. A couple of those rushes and scrambles also were kind of like Houdini. Like he just popped it. Like he was wrapped up kind of. I'm sure this was awesome at the field because it looked like he was going to get sacked a couple times and he was just breaking tackles and then breaking runs.
Yeah, there were times where I thought he was going down and he just like squeaks out and then he's running down the field for another 10-yard gain.
Yeah, the one toward the end of the game, huge play on that drive. He did they not grab his face mask?
That's what, dude. It looked like watching on the broadcast that they grabbed something. Maybe it was one of those weird, like they got an ear hole where they don't technically call that a face mask, but potentially another missed call. Yeah.
In person, for sure thought it was a face mask, but they're going the opposite side of the field from where we were at. But yeah, there's another. I need to go back and look at that and see if there's a better angle to definitively say that they grabbed his face mask there. But that's like a very bad missed call on their part too, if they missed that.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. It ends up working out because they end up, pulling within 3. And then honestly, the defense was had a ton of trouble all day. Really steps up on this next WVU drive because stepping up to the plate was Jimmy Scott, number 44. Pitt's first sack of the day came on 3rd and 6 on West Virginia's final or their next drive. Forces them to punt, and it leaves Pitt with 2 minutes left on the clock, and now they're at the 23. And my God, what a drive from Eli. Just, you cannot ask for much better from a redshirt freshman starting quarterback than orchestrating a 4-minute drill and a 2-minute drill in the same game to give you the win. I mean, he throws, runs for 7, throws to Gavin, throws to Kanate, runs for another 17. He draws a PI sort of towards the end zone with Gavin. That was a really, really close to being Gavin's first touchdown of the year. But then he runs down to the 1, and I guess his helmet must have come off. I really still can't tell from the replay. But 2nd and goal, the West Virginia 1. Nate Yarnell hands off to Derek Davis for the game-winning score. And I think that's so cool. You've got your backup quarterback who, ends up losing the job, but stays here. He's still, from what everyone can tell, like, was really good about the quarterback competition, handing off to your LSU transfer running back who came back home to play running back for you guys. Like, that is super cool to me.
Yeah, it was I don't know. It was kind of like surreal to know, like on that drive, it just felt like every play, dude, it just felt like you had a positive outlook on the drive, which was crazy because it never felt like that last year. It was always like, God, I hope that something bad doesn't happen. Now it's like, oh, what is this? We're moving the ball down the field efficiently, effectively, and like I don't think bad things are going to happen. And like the perfect cap off of the drive, like you said, Zach.
I mean, just like you said, like it felt good. The only negative play on Pitt's final two full drives, not counting a kneel down, was one penalty. Or sorry, it was two penalties. Every single play went for positive yardage.
I didn't know that. I mean, it felt like that, but that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
literally everything was working at the end, and like that's what we were talking about, sort of in last week's show. That like it doesn't matter how much we're down. You always feel like you're gonna win. Like as soon as we got the ball back, I was pretty confident we were just gonna win. Like we were talking like, oh, we're in field goal range. Like, wait a minute, they're just not gonna settle for a field goal. They're gonna
Yeah.
go up four, so that West Virginia, has to score another touchdown in regulation to win it. And guess what? They fucking don't. Garrett Green throws like three straight pickable balls. Kyle Lewis ends up getting the last one, picking it off and ending the game for them. But everyone's going to talk about the offense. The defense really stood up in those last 4 minutes as well to make sure Pitt held on to that win. If they don't get that stop, they don't get that sack, they just don't end up winning the game. They get the sack, they get the stop, they pick the ball off so that they can't come back and win it. And Pitt's 3-0. So
Undefeated Panthers going into Youngstown State next week. I mean, I feel like we kind of we're ahead of schedule, I would say.
I mean, my expectations for this year were kind of low. I honestly did not think we were going to beat West Virginia coming into the year. To say ahead of schedule, I think, is pretty accurate because, I think I have my problems with sometimes the play calling is a little dumb. I think the D line still struggled this game. I think the corners are actively getting better. But the passing attack is like we've ran this offense for years. Like we've secretly been practicing it when Frank Shinetti wasn't looking or something like that. But listen,
Well, we didn't run the
Go.
ball well, but I think what Cade Bell did a great job of is like those short, quick passes that almost act as runs.
Yeah.
Like Des Reed, I don't know what his receiving yards were at the end of the game, but he probably had a ton that were like fake rushing yards. They did it because the offensive line, give him credit, protected decently. Like we said, we can always run the ball better, but they did a good job of like scheming some of that quick stuff to act as runs.
Yeah, Des finished with 4 catches for 50 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, I don't know. I think the O-line definitely just has to get better. I think Eli was hurried a lot, like way too much in this game. You could see on the final drive, like I was saying, like every single play started with Eli immediately moving the pocket. And then credit to him, he moved the pocket, kept his eyes downfield, and either broke a run for 10-plus yards or found a strike 15 yards more down the field. Yeah, I mean, this team's ahead of schedule. They've matched their win total from last year in just 3 weeks. They've got their FCS opponent coming up this week. Then their first bye of the season. Like you've been seeing this a lot on Twitter, but this would be the first time that Pitt has ever gone undefeated in conference play. Given that they didn't join a conference till I think 1992.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
that is crazy. Youngstown State is a classic pit trap game, though, coming off of an old. Do not let down next week. Just come out, take care of business.
Did we played them like a couple years ago, right? Maybe our freshman or sophomore year.
The first game of our freshman year.
Yeah, and I honestly don't remember what happened, but I remember it being much closer than it should have been.
We won that game in overtime.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I would not love that this time around.
Youngstown State is coming into this 1-2. They lost by 1 touchdown to Villanova on the road, and then they lost to Duquesne at home by 3.
Okay, we need to take care of business. We can't have another Max Brown game. You're right, Kent. I forgot about him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be too bad. I think that the fact that we whooped up on Kent and then we've got these wins under our belt, I would definitely like to see Pitt not come back in the fourth quarter against this next team. But I don't know. There's not much to preview. They're an FCS team. just get right before the first bye week. Honestly, after this game, are you guys sort of like reevaluating what you think as far as like this season's going to be for Pitt?
100%. This game totally changed my perspective because you could call the comeback at Cincinnati. I don't want to say like a fluke, but it was a crazy win, and you can't do that every game. But then we proved that we can do it. I mean, we did it again. So I think that with the fight that this team has, totally different um, expectations now than just a short 3 weeks ago.
How about you, Ken?
Sorry, I'm gonna need to rewind.
Have your expectations for this team this year changed after these first 3 games?
Um, yeah, I would say. I mean, we were hopeful for a bowl game. Um, I think that's very much within reach now. I think, um, yeah, expecting more than a 6-win season is
Yeah,
definitely more so on the table now than it was probably before the season. We had really no idea what to expect out of the new offense, out of Eli or Nate. We thought Nate was going to start, and been very very impressive for.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, obviously the offense. I think the defense is going to end up getting better. I think that. I mean, sorry, Jimmy Scott had the big sack. I think that Nate Matlack should eventually get started. Want to shout out Kyle Lewis, Brandon George, and Don McMillan for having awesome games. Chris Brookins is a redshirt freshman and has worked his way into that 3-man safety rotation just because of how good he's been. But like honestly, like look at the schedule coming up ahead. Like there's a big runway for Pitt to not only get to a bowl, which was our hope before the season, but like you're looking at stacking up a lot of wins before you get to even November. Um, like Eli is probably going to win ECC Rookie of the Week again. I think that should be unquestioned after he goes. He did have 300 yards in this game, right? Am I making that up? Yeah, he threw for 300, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Then like, who scares you on this schedule looking ahead? Pitt plays 2 ranked teams both at the end of the year when everything should be clicking. I mean, your next 6 games are home against Youngstown State. Bye. You go to UNC, who I'm not too high on. You welcome Cal to Pittsburgh. I think they're kind of a fake good team. They are undefeated, but I don't buy it that much. You welcome Syracuse to town on Thursday night. I don't buy it either. You go to SMU, who's looked a lot worse than we thought they would at the beginning of the year. And then you get Virginia at home before probably the 3 toughest games of the season at the end. Clemson at home, Louisville on the road, and not Boston College. I mean, you look at that schedule, like I can see a path to double-digit wins here.
yeah, competing for the up and downs with the other teams in the ACC. That could be competing for a title game too.
Yeah, because like who else in this conference do you trust to? Like I think Miami probably has another really good shot, but like I don't trust Syracuse. I don't trust Boston College. I don't trust Georgia Tech. Florida State has obviously already taken themselves out of the race. Like maybe Louisville, but probably not.
Yeah,
Virginia Tech is not that good. SMU is really face planted. NC State looks awful. It's it might be a scheduled thing. We might not be 10, 11 win quality like if we play like an average team schedule, but there's a very easy path in front of this team to put up a lot of points and put up a lot of wins.
yeah. The path is there, and I think we're talking like ceilings here, right? Like that's not
Yeah.
like the expectation, but like you said, it's there, it's in front of us.
Yeah, agreed. I think a lot of very very winnable games on the schedule. Pitt tends to lose some games they shouldn't, as we all know.
Right.
But we'll see. I mean, I agree. I hope it doesn't take a fourth quarter comeback every time. I hope we can kind of win some games earlier. I mean, I'll take them if that's how we got to win. But yeah, I think it's like you said, Mace. The blueprint's kind of there for a double-digit win season, but that is the sort of lofty goal.
Excuse me. Yeah. I really got nothing else on this last game. I mean, just it was awesome in person. Shout out to everyone who made the ACK Electric last night. Shout out to all the West Virginia fans. I lost my voice shit talking after the game because it's so funny when you go home sad like that. And I just had to go down the road, people just yelling, "Go home, go home, go home." It was electric. I wish you were there,
Go.
Mason. You would have had so much fun.
Me too. Me too. It's, I mean, nothing better than that when they come and it's like, oh, we're gonna fill up your stadium, and then you just get to let them have it on the way out. Send them packing.
God, it was so good.
I know Eli Holstein's getting a ton of love from us this week. Some other little nuggets. He has more passing touchdowns and passing yards than Quinn Ewers, Cam Rising, Carson Beck, Jackson Dart, Dylan Gabriel. Like, just to put into perspective the kind of numbers that he's putting up, he's up there with some of the best of them, ahead of a lot of the best of them.
That is some really good company to keep. I can't lie.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose Quinn got hurt, but to be ahead of Jackson Dart, I had no idea that was happening.
Yep. Jackson Dart with 8 on the season. So you got Holstein with 9.
Yeah, I mean, also just I don't know if I can say this enough, but Kanate having a breakout season after 2 years in just an offense that refused to utilize him has been awesome to watch. I mean, he's already got three touchdowns on the year, 255 yards. Would have really liked to see Gavin get his first touchdown in this game. It ends up being okay because we won. He got a huge catch for a first down. Also, shout out Jake Overman, the backup tight end, for that block on Derek Davis's touchdown run to seal the win. Honestly, do you guys have anything else on this game?
One last thing, I predicted the final score of this game
He
in the
did.
parking lot ahead of the game. I said Pitt's going to win 38-34. I was going to put money on it. There's no service. Could not place the bet. Tragic, but the record shows.
Should have taken your ass to Rivers.
Oh,
Sportsbook there.
True.
That was probably like a mile away from you guys, though, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll confirm he did actually call the final score. I went with a 42-39, sort of a homage to an old classic with the 16 Penn State score. Honestly, I was pretty damn close. I'm not too mad about it, but we won. That's all that fucking matters. And we have a tune-up game next week, 3:30 p.m. Youngstown State. It's on ESPN Plus, so you got to go. You have to go through that whole fucking rigmarole to get the game. Who cares? It's just this one's going to be hopefully a fun game. I have nothing on this team. Just give me a point total that you guys want to see out of the Pitt Panthers this week.
Give me another 50 burger.
I was going to say, I think that's the number at this point. 50 burger.
All right, get this. I want a 2021 New Hampshire style demolition. I want 77 points on the board. No more, no less. 77. That's my favorite number. I hope that for me, they can score 77.
Just a perfect 11 touchdowns.
I mean, honestly, real talk. I just want to see the starting offense get pulled in like the early third quarter.
Halftime. Let's let them only play. Let's get an extra bye week, half a game for them, and just have them be done by halftime. That would be beautiful.
Yeah, I would love that, Zach, as well. Zach and I actually in the car today, we were kind of going through last year's total points, and what week we think we might, how many games it's going to take for us to surpass last year's point total. We're
Did we
guessing.
ever actually add that up? So we were doing that off the dome, and I forgot 2 games we played.
Yeah, we were. It was a rough car ride. It did not get around to actually coming up with a concrete number. We'll follow up next week with that. But
I think it legitimately will be probably less than 6 games before we surpass last season's point total.
we were saying it might take like 5 weeks.
Which is
I'm doing the math right now because it shouldn't take that long. Can someone do the math real quick on how many points we've scored so far this year?
yeah.
All right. I've got the total points from last year set to go. Actually, you know what, Mason? I know Kent might know this, but how many points do you think Pitt scored all of last year? 12 games.
310.
242.
Jesus Christ! I was gonna go in the 200s, but I was like, that's way too low because I just did the math for what we already have this year. 121 points so far this year, so we are over halfway
We are literally halfway there in 3 games.
there.
Holy fuck!
yeah, yeah, that's we were, without like actually looking at the numbers. I think we all kind of had the right idea about where it would be.
Okay, so you've got literally 121 points to go. I think they're going to do it against Cal. I think they're going to put up a huge amount of a huge point score this week against Youngstown. UNC never had a good defense. They're going to do it by the end of the Cal game, I think.
Yeah, before we're halfway through October, we could have surpassed our point total from last season.
God, that feels so good to say.
I know. Just like take a minute, like even if we weren't 3-0 at this point, just to have that in itself, I think would actually be a really good sign. So the fact that we have that plus an undefeated record so far, not a lot to complain about on my end.
No, I mean, all we've done is win. All we've done is win. All we've done is seen good things from the offense. I still have my problems with the O line. That's because as a former O lineman, I tend to focus on them way too much. D line's a work in progress. I think the cornerbacks are showing up. Listen, man, this was the hardest game on our schedule for a while, and we we went over the challenge. We got it. We won. We get to send them home sad for another year. You guys might be able to tell, but Kent lost his voice shit talking West Virginia fans from the game. I'm not at my usual 100%. Man, it just feels good to win this rivalry. I'll be honest. It seems that every year it's in Pittsburgh, it is like the best football game ever played. And then the one year in Morgantown, like just even Pitt losing last year aside, that was just a bad football game to watch. So I think honestly, these ADs should make the right call and play in Pittsburgh every year. Just saying. No more games in Morgantown.
I second that. No, nothing good happens in Morgantown.
No. Anything else on this game, lads?
One last thing, we received one vote to be ranked in this week's AP poll. I just pulled it up. So
I think that listen, if they keep winning, they're gonna eventually have to rank them. I do think that the voters are probably looking at Pitt and going, "Let's see you win a game where you're not down multiple scores in the fourth before we really consider ranking you seriously," which I think is fair.
Yeah, we got one vote from a voter in Boise, Idaho, baby. We've got a fan in Boise.
I mean, my problem with the AP is that I don't think you should rank one-loss teams this early in the year, like Notre Dame, Michigan, Clemson, fucking A&M are all ranked. Why? They already have a loss. I don't agree with that.
I mean, yeah, but it's different when you lose to like Georgia.
None of
Yeah.
those teams have lost to Georgia. Did I say Clemson?
Georgia. Reese.
Yeah.
Max by Georgia, but
Whatever.
But yeah, I mean the fact that we're on the radar, I think is a good sign because it means there's at least one person out there that
They're noticing.
yeah, that's where it all begins.
Hell yeah. I'll be honest. I didn't watch any other games this weekend. You guys won the Christmas matchup of the week. Oklahoma won. Florida State lost. That was funny. Colorado didn't. I'm just keeping an eye out for if Colorado finishes with fewer Big 12 wins than Pitt does. So we got 2. So just keep an eye on that. You guys good with just not previewing this week? I've done nothing. Good. All right.
yeah.
That's fine.
Listen, guys. Me and Ken are really hungover. We got to cut this episode short. I got to catch a flight to Denver tomorrow. But listen, this has been a great weekend. Let's fucking keep it rolling. This has been Simplify Podcast. If you liked it, follow us on Twitter at Simplify Pod. Give us a rating of 5 stars in your podcast app of choice, and we'll see you next week.
Hail to Pitt.
Beat what's Youngstown State's mascot?
They're Penguins.
The Penguins, yeah. A
Beat the
heat
Penguins.
wave has just hit Pittsburgh. There are no more Penguins.
Damn. It was all the Mountaineers fans' hot ass breath.
Yeah.
Go home.